Hello?
Jill, are you okay?
Brad, is that you?
Listen, you gotta get out of there.
What are you talking about?
I don't have time to explain. You gotta get out of there right now.
All right, let me grab my...
Hey, what is going on, everybody, and welcome to my channel. My name is Big Tune, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day today. And in today's video, we are going to be reviewing the Resident Evil 3 remake because we finally reached the ending of that. And this game was released originally in 2020 for the PS4, Xbox One, and PC. But right now, we are actually playing it via backwards compatibility on the PS5. And unlike the last game, Resident Evil 2, which I have to say is an amazing game and it can stand with the original, this remake honestly is, we're gonna get into it. It's an okay remake. It's not as good as the last one.
Captain, this fine young lady could use our help.
Carlos, you didn't even think to ask fine young lady her name? She is an elite operative of RPD, Special Tactics and Rescue Service. Her name is something Valentine.
It's Jill.
Nice to meet you, Jill.
Resident Evil 3 Remake takes the form of a pre-sequel and a sequel. Okay, let me explain what that means. At the beginning hours of Resident Evil 3 are the beginning hours of the outbreak that begins in Raccoon City, and as we know, Resident Evil 2 doesn't begin until a couple of weeks, I think it is, after the outbreak has taken the city down. And then, as we know, Resident Evil 2 and 3 do overlap somewhere in the middle, and I think it's like right as Leon gets to Kendo's gun shop, Jill dips, or it's like a couple hours. They're like a couple hours behind each other. Jill is a couple hours ahead of Claire and Leon, and then there is a point where Jill passes out for a couple hours, to which when she awakens, she's only like an hour or two away from the city destruction, and around that time, Resident Evil 2 has already ended, and Claire and them have left. So this game takes place before, during, and after Resident Evil 2. And it does have a different feel from Resident Evil 2 because we are playing a character who is actually very experienced with dealing with these things. As you know, Jill Valentine is our main character this time around, returning from Resident Evil. Returning from Resident Evil. And this time around, you can tell that she is actually affected by the zombie, what her experience is in the Spencer mentioned. As in the beginning of the game, she does have a very, vivid nightmare of herself being infected. And spoiler alert, during this game, she does become infected for a little bit. And that is when our second character you see here, Carlos, does actually heal her. Now, unlike the last game, this game does not require you to play two different characters' story. It just has two playable characters, and you switch off of these characters during a certain point in the story. And I like that, honestly, a little bit more than having to play Claire and Leon, because there were some times when you would switch over to Carlos, and I think if his stuff transfers to Jill, I'm not sure, and I like this game a lot, but I will talk about this more at the end, because the story, it's a really simple story. Jill gets caught in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. Turns out it's Umbrella. Turns out it's like a bunch of twists happen, a lot of death just happens and stuff, and we know she gets out. But we will talk about the disappointment stuff after we talk about the gameplay.
Morning, sunshine.
You saved my life.
I sure as shit didn't. That was all Carlos. He carried you here and he treated you himself. Crazy bastard.
Where is he?
He went underground. Bard stockpiled the vaccine, enough to give this city some hope.
He thinks he can do this by himself. I'm going after him.
Wait, did you see the broadcast? They're gonna blow the city sky high. I I'm trying to get a hold of someone, anyone with the clearance to stop it. Leave this mess to him. He's a professional.
So am I.
Resident Evil 3's gameplay is just an identical match of Resident Evil 2 Remake, with one difference being that these sub-weapons are now basically just used as throwables. The knife is automatically given to you at the beginning of the game, and grenades and flashbangs can be found around the map. They are now replaced with a dodge mechanic, with Jill being able to dodge roll and then aim at a zombie's head, which freezes a downtime and increases her critical attack, and Carlos. Oh man, Carlos gets to punch the shit out of him. And just like in the last game, what you can find multiple weapons, unlock lockers, but there is a very small selection of weapons for both characters, with Carlos only getting a machine gun and a pistol, and Jill stopping acquiring weapons after she gets the grenade launcher, but you get to use one cool ass weapon at the ending. Now, don't get me wrong, Resident Evil 3 Remake is a very good game. I played this game on hardcore and it was very challenging to the point where I died 35 times. The problem is, it is an okay remake. And that is the problem that I have with this game. When it comes to Resident Evil 2 Remake, when I did my research, the consensus are the stuff that they cut out of the game and the stuff that they changed made the game actually a better game, and it can contend with its original to where both are by themselves a very good experience. But for players who have played the original, they say that it is a very it's faithful to the original release. Now, when it comes to Resident Evil 3 Remake, and when I do research on what was removed, the consensus of what I've seen on what it was removed is just people are mad because it was some of their favorite type of, like, it was their favorite areas in the game. And not only that, a lot of the game feels like a set piece. So when it came to Nemesis before the release of this game, there was a lot of like pre-release talking about Nemesis is more advanced than Mr. X, and all this stuff, because Mr. X by himself in Resident Evil 2 is the reason why a lot of people like the Resident Evil 2 remake, is because how Mr. X, how much of a like haunting presence he was. When it comes to Nemesis in this remake, he feels more like a set piece. I can only remember one time where he actually was chasing me, and the rest of the times it was get from this door that you just ran out of into this one. And there was only one time when he was constantly roaming and jumping and following me. And honestly, that was on the downtown area of the game, and that is when the game honestly peaked for me. It was the most fun. But as we got on to the rest of the game, Nemesis became more of just like a boss fight. And there's like 3 or 4 boss fights against him when I would have loved him more in his roaming mode, because he was very, very scary. And he was honestly, it was really fun to fight the Nemesis if he could have just been much more of a set piece. Not only that, I've heard that they removed an entire section, the clock shower section, graveyard section, the gravedigger enemy. It's like a worm infected T-virus infected worm. They just removed stuff that people really wish that was in here. And honestly, that's the reason why I just say that this game, it's a good game. It's a good horror action game. But when it comes to being a remake of Resident Evil 3, I do say that I do recommend you go back and play Resident Evil 3 instead of using this as a substitute. Because some of the things they've changed, like I've said, I've heard, it's something that I can't explain. You just go back and play it, do your research. It is not, the consensus are it could have been better, basically. But that is enough of this review. You guys heard me ramble quite enough about this game. We are now going to be starting off on Code Veronica X, and I'm very excited to do that because this is going to be my first time playing this game. And I would recommend you guys play this game. Maybe if you can find it for around like the $15 to $25 price range. I do not recommend buying this game at full price because it is very short. If you speedrun it, you can complete it in around 3 hours, and I was taking my time during the Let's Play, and it completed in around like 7 hours. But that's mostly too. I was dying a few times and everything. But if you can find this game on sale, I do recommend it. But if you can play the original, I do recommend you play the original. But that is enough of this. I am glad to be done with Resident Evil 3. And like I said, we are moving on to the fourth game in our playthrough, which is Code Veronica X, which will be uploaded honestly right after this. They're probably premiering like one after another. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of these. And I hope you guys are having a wonderful day today. Peace out.